I'm going to cut you here, and we're going to go to the phone line. This is something new because this is the first time I'll be, even though I've met him in past chats, first time I'll be doing an interview with Professor Twumasi, the Chief Executive Officer of the National Sports Council. I said council, right? National Sports Authority. And we're going to be looking at, the one thing that people have complained time and time again have been the nature of the pitch or the pitches in which we play. I gather Twumasi has been transformed. I don't know for a fact, but Prof will help us out there. Prof, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Right, Prof. First question we probably want to ask is, we are getting positive reports on the nature of the pitch in Twumasi. Can you confirm or deny it?
Thank you very much, and my greetings to your cherished viewers and listeners. I know you are transmitting across the whole country and even beyond. Good job you are doing. Yes, I can confirm that we are ready, as we always do. The National Sports Authority being the custodian of our state-owned facilities, which are always being used for such international competitions. We ensure that what is required, especially conditions that is set by CAF or FIFA, are all met for such a game to happen. I think we did so for many seasons past, and this particular one is not different. We've given all the needed attention to ensure that the GFA CAF requirements that they brought to our doorsteps are all met. And I can assure you that the Baba Yara Sports Stadium is ready. What is left is for the fans to troop into the stadium to give the backing so as our national Black Stars to be able to win the match.
Prof, haven't told us about how the pitch has been trimmed and whatnot. What did the NSA do that, quotes, a year ago we almost lost hosting the match in Twumasi? What have you done since then to improve upon the quality?
No, I don't want to agree with you on that particular statement. People really peddle those kind of information around, especially when Cape Coast was used for last year's commemoration of our independence. And when we all acted so that there would be some effect on the pitch, but then the timelines had well been drawn that it will be recovered and everything will be done. And you remember the time that we were about to have the match, everything was done in Cape Coast. But then there was a need for us to go to a bigger place, which is the Baba Yara, which can contain about 40,000, which is about 3 times the size of Cape Coast. You see? So, but people are peddling and say, well, we couldn't make it and we couldn't make it. It's quite unfortunate. Because this particular situation, I have to give a lot of praise to His Excellency and his center ministers that they supported us so hugely to be able to renovate our transport stadium, which is in very good shape now. It's also been touched by the Chinese contractor, and then Baba Yara Stadium, the current one, which is one of the state of the art malls, started the first phase of the renovation work. You only need to request from the National Sports Authority what you need, the conditions you want, and we make them available. So I do not agree with you at all when you say we were not able to really get ready and it was almost taken away from us. People were peddling those kind of falsehoods. I don't agree with it at all.
But Prof, I was one of the guys who went to Twumasi when they went to what was supposed to have been where the presser was taking place, the media conference, and the CAF officials were not exactly too enamored with it.
Oh, it's an old facility that needed a lot of alterations to be able to meet the current standards set by the CAF, and especially the post-COVID era where many things have changed. I must tell you, even for the substitute bench that we are using at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, we have really expanded. Currently, even the dressing rooms number of the cabinets that we used to have been increased to about 27, which used to be running around 22. The substitute bench have been also been improved upon. So you see, you are working with an old facility which was built to satisfy the standards of the times, those times. But now things have changed, and that requires a lot of modifications, which are always, when we are really made aware of such modifications that we need, we make them available to you. The stadium is a convertible facility that can always be altered.
So, Prof, tell me, in terms of now, you've got Twumasi up to the required, acceptable standards. What is going to happen to the other stadia that we built for 2008 that are in dire need of upgrading? Esupon comes to mind, and then Aliu Mahama.
Yeah. In fact, now there has been a lot of flexibility in terms of the choice of venues for most of these competitions. I think in 2018 we started with the multi-purpose stadia. We haven't really completed all of them yet. But where they have gotten to from Wan, Brongo, Yendi, and so on and so forth. And then recently we went to other club where we organized in the independence commemoration, and we saw the kind of facility there. These are about 10 of them, which we are expecting them to be added to us. Already the Accra, as I mentioned, any kind of match that we want to organize there. The last year, remember, even the Liberian team came to use it. We can make available to any national team that is in need of it. Cape Coast, as I indicated, Esupon needed some improvement. You know, the location of it and having about 80% of the facility being made of metal, which were not actually anti-corrosive at the time they were constructed. Now, there's a very massive renovation where to really replace all these metals with the ones that will not be anti-corrosive and then last longer. The same facility we have, similar one we have in the northern region, the Mahama Stadium, which is still very fit for stadium. So I think now we are having many alternatives, many satellite ones, and the major ones being renovated. So it's becoming very easier for Ghana to be able to select any of these to become venues for future competitions. And not only for football, not only for athletics, but all the other sporting disciplines will have place in this facility.
Prof, as I speak to you now, we've just seen a shot of the Baba Yara Stadium, and the pitch looks immaculate. That I'll give to you. But, Prof, there are some worries amongst others who will say that, but the previous sports minister promised certain number of facilities. How far are we going to achieve those facilities to get them in place?
I think in Parliament, my Honourable Sector Minister, Honourable Mustafa Yusuf, gave a lot of information on these 10 multi-purpose stadia that we began the construction, which most of them have reached about 90% completion levels, which requires very little investment for us to be able to get all of them ready for usage. Already, he mentioned the one in Wa, which are almost about to be completed, like we have the one in Adaklu. The one in the Doman in Crow is also almost there. And I think about 5 of them need really quite a minimal probably attention. But the others that are also in line, he assured the Parliament and the people of Ghana that as the President has directed, we need to ensure that this year all this will be released. Mind you, see these facilities, each of them can harbor about 5,000 to 8,000 spectators. And you have the FIFA standard pitch, which you can play all international football matches there, FIFA accredited, all of them. And then you have 8 lanes, athletic oval, and then multi-purpose courts. So that means that every region now become even self-reliant in terms of even having school, college, college sports, and so on and so forth. I think that's a good thing that the President has done. In terms of the AFCON, I think you can agree with me. 2017, we had only 2, Park with Indium, and then Tema Sports Stadium, which is under the National Sports Authority. Currently, we are counting about 120 AFCON distributed across the country. So in terms of sports infrastructure, it's quite unprecedented. Huge impact, I must say.
Prof, I have a little, how do I put it? A little problem when we talk about internationally accepted Olympic because I think it will take time for us to get there. Surely, if we start with Twumasi, we move to Accra, we move to Esupon, that'll be fine. Rather than these new satellite ones that we are now constructing. Hello, Prof.
Yeah, hello, yes.
I was asking that you spoke about Olympic standard stadia, which is the long term that we all like to have. But why don't we focus on the major ones before we transport them to the new ones that are coming up?
No, what I indicated was that any of these 10 new multi-purpose stadia are equipped. Any one of them is equipped with the Olympic standard running tracks, which is an 8-lane facility, which is quite huge. It's similar to the one we have Baba Yara Sports as well. So you understand. So it means that athletics will have a place in all these 10. Then the pitch that we have in these 10 multi-purpose stadia are also of the FIFA standard, and that means that depending upon the size of the match, you can play all these FIFA accredited matches there. That is what I indicated. Okay. Of course, once you have a facility of this case, these sporting facilities are all convertible. It depends. It's a demand driven. So, for example, today Ghana wins the hosting right to host all Africa next year. Come next year, and you see the transformation that we are doing at the UG Stadium, for example. I think you were there when we had the AFCON 2008. The Accra Sports Stadium had to be modified in a way, which is we took out the tartan tracks, which can be even restored. As for facilities of this nature, what is important is that you should be given the opportunity to have them distributed across the country. Once you have them, any other modification that will really accept any competition, whether it is really sanctioned by Olympic Games, IOC, or wherever, you can do them in Ghana. And that's the flexibility we have now, and that we should be very grateful.
Okay, Prof. Last question here. I promise you last question. In terms of the tracks that you spoke about the tartan tracks being available into the new stadium that we are trying to construct. But I was wondering whether we wouldn't move one step further by rather putting the Mondo tracks, which is what most of these people use these days, rather than necessarily the tartan tracks.
Yes, I know the standard that is being used. It is one that was recommended by the World Athletics. And I think that the GA has been very instrumental in this. And that's why I'm very confident that when we are all completed, the kind of standard that we will have will meet all such internationally approved ones that will be able to also compete.
Professor Twumasi, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for talking to us. And we hope that... go on, please go on.
I don't know. So I was going to say, let's encourage our colleagues in the industry and the Ghana in general to really take interest in this particular match that we are going to have at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. It all will count to our qualification for the AFCON, which I think all of us know that it's been a very long time since we really brought the cup home, and it's an opportunity for us to do so. Let's have the date for Ghana Nigeria match that helps us to be able to qualify for the Qatar. Let's give them the same kind of support, and I'm sure once we really participate in this fully, the victory will be ours. Also, those who haven't gotten their tickets yet, now everything is online, and you can pick your ticket from *711# and buy any category of tickets that you want for yourself, for others. People are buying from other countries for people, their loved ones in Ghana, and that's the opportunity for everybody. Professor
Twumasi, please pass the message on to your board chair, Boyoyo Seth Panwu, and your deputy Majid. Thank you very much for talking to us.
You're welcome, sir. I'll do so.
That's right. So that was Professor Patrick Twumasi, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Sports Authority, or is it the Director General?